Hey everybody, and welcome back to the Inhabit Mars channel. Today we are going to look at Sol 590. This is a Gigapan that was done by Joe White over at ArtAlienTV. And we're going to take a look at that today. This is where I started with this video right here that he has on his YouTube channel. And it's called Mars Man Walking Part 2. All right, and this is on ArtAlienTV. What he was focused on, among other things, was this right here, and this is what he's talking about. You see right in the middle of your screen, and then, of course, to the top right is the raw clip that he has boxed in so you can see it. There seems to be an person or object right there that has a shape of a person. So it's either a person or a statue, and I believe he said both of those. It could be one or two. I believe more that this is a person, just because if you look close at the guy, it looks like the hood that he's wearing a long cloak, and then there's a hood, and the hood is a lighter color. If it was a statue, you think it would be all the same color, and I think I'll be able to show you where he's heading to when we get into the Blender Live portion. I also took a look at Neville Thompson's Gigapan of the same Sol, and guess what? We have the same thing there, and you can see that the hood that he's wearing is definitely a lighter color, and he's kind of walking up that mountain. Well, it's a little butte. It's not a mountain, it's a hill. And he's actually stepping on something right there. And then it's almost like a pathway that he's following going up there. So we're going to take a look at that amongst other things today. And we want to start right here. These are some images I took of the 3D render that we made of these two hills. Now I added a little bit of volumetrics to it to give it a little bit of atmosphere. It seemed to me, if you look at the background, at the hills in the background, it looked like there's a lot of dust between us, our view, and the back hill. So I went ahead and added a little volumetrics so that it would give us a little bit of atmosphere to it. This is one of the renders that I took, and then this is a more close-up of the second hill. All right, and if you remember in one of our previous videos, we talked about how it's possible that there are people still living on this planet, and they are probably living underground. All right, and in that previous video, I should say, we had one of these vent structures that are on the top of the hill, and they probably live inside this hill. They probably have it dug out, or the outer part of this is just covered in dirt and rocks and stuff to disguise it as a hill. So it was either a hill from the beginning that they dug out, or it's quite possibly they made structures to look like hills after the disaster that happened on Mars. But there's a vent structure on this hill, and it's very similar to the one we had in a previous video that we did. So I'm going to go ahead and start here in Blender. So here is our scene in Blender, and as you can see, you kind of see the volumetrics up here, just like I say, to give it a little bit of atmosphere, but it shouldn't affect how we're able to see everything. So I'm going to start with this close hill right here. And one of the things that Joe White talked about was, where are you? There you are. Was this right here. Now he actually has a good blow up of this on his Gigamacro site, and I don't want to go too much into this because he does a pretty good job pointing this out. But this seems to be a round statue head. You can see the eyes. Let me get that off of there. There we go. You can see the eye sockets and the nose This is the forehead area and the mouth. And so what we did was we went ahead and modeled this in 3D. We used as much of the original texture as we could, stretching it to make it fit right, because this was the angle it was taken at. So the far side, we really had to do some work to get that to fit our model here, but it turned out pretty well. And once again, you see the nose, you see the eyes, you see the mouth, and then it seemed to have this band that went around at least around the side on both sides, because from the angle here that it was at, you could see a little bit of it sticking out on that side. And like I said, I don't know if that's a statue head, maybe a robot head. I think Joe said it was a possibility it could be either one. And then we want to go over here and look at this over here. Now this was right there in the dirt at the foot, at the base of the mountain. It's a hill, not a mountain. All right, and that is right there in the image. And it looks like a bowl or something as we take a closer look in the 3D. It seems to be a bowl that's broken. It's got one flat side here, and then of course it comes around in an arch like that. So whatever it is, it's also got dirt that's piled up in the middle there. But it's a broken piece of pottery or a bowl or something that's sitting there. And then let me zoom out a little bit. And then we have this right here. I am not sure what this thing is, but it definitely has shape to it. All right, it's almost kind of triangular in shape, and it's got this nose piece that comes out like this. It had this very smooth, you can see the four lines in it here. So it's probably a piece of machinery that's just laying there. What it does, I don't know, but that's what it looked like. All right, we have that, and I forgot, by the way, to put my other object back. There we go. All right, so let's go to the top of this. Now, this is the stuff that really intrigued me, and we're going to go ahead and look at the panels to really get a good view of this. I have a panel off here to the right, and we'll start here and save the best for last. Here's another one of those event things like we talked about in the previous one of our previous videos. We actually had a better, we can see more detail on it in that video, but these are here and they have the same shape, and there's one on this hilltop, and if I click on this one over here, there's also, well, if I can get it, come on. Why don't you want to click on it? Okay, here we go. Well, why don't you want to click? All right, we'll go this way. Okay, there we go. I can't click on you. Why can't? It's not letting me click on him for some reason. But anyway, what I was trying to say is there's one on this hilltop here, okay? And we'll take a better look at those. All right. But that's on the second hilltop. Okay. And then I just want to point these out here, and then we're going to really look at them in the panels that I have. We had many objects sitting here, and I modeled some of the easiest ones to see, and I'm going to show you in the panel so we can get a better look. But we seem to have something that looks almost like a headstone or something, and it had this shape to it, and this is the actual texture from the image. And then we had this piece here, and like I say, I'll give you a better view once we get over to the panel so you can see what they look like. And these two objects here, this looks like a fence post or something, some sort of cylinder, and then this was some sort of mechanical arm or something, and I'm going to show you that once again once we get over to the image. And then we'll get into these temple complexes. And yeah, these look like temple complexes, and hopefully I can show you that real well in the image. This was really an amazing find. This looks like some sort of tomb or something, and there's a statue in the front. Now, I have no idea what the statue looked like. I downloaded an image from Google, and then I modeled on top of that, and I'm going to show you that in the panels. So let's go, well, let's look at this. And this is the big temple structure here. This thing is huge. And once again, I just used the same model that I created, the statue. Okay, I have no idea what these statues look like. I could not get enough detail, but they are in there. And then there were these structures here. These were actually, these two that I'm pointing at were actually toppled over, but I went ahead and set them back upright in their position so you could see what this temple structure looks like. And then you have these steps that go up, and then you could go to this first level of the complex and then up to the second. So let's get over to the panel and we'll look at those even better. All right, let's start here. Now this is Joe White's Gigapan, and once again, here is, let me start with the head so you can see that. This is the head, and then let's move him out of the way. And that is it right there. That is straight from the image. All right. Now it looks like I made mine a little too round at the top. I probably should have flattened them up a little bit at the top, but hopefully you get the idea that that is what we're looking at. You can see the mouth right here. You can see the nose, and you can see these eye sockets. And then you see this part that looks like a band that goes around. You can see just a little bit of it right there. So it looks like it goes around his head. That was that. And like I said, he does a real good job explaining that in his video. All right, and that is located to the right side of this closest hilltop. And then let's take a look. Now it's going to be hard to see in here, so I actually have a zoomed in image. Where is that? Which panel is it? Here it is. Okay, now this is that same close hilltop, and I'm just going to show you these objects one by one here. This is that vent thing that we're talking about. I believe these are to get air down into the structure that's underneath, and it is right there. All right, that's it. Now, we couldn't get enough detail as we did in our previous video from another sol where we found these vents at the top, but, and this one doesn't have that gold band that goes around, because I think what happens is there's a gold band and this is some sort of fabric, and that fabric was actually tearing away, and we were able to see the support underneath, which seemed to be some sort of gold colored band, and this one still seems to be pretty intact right there. So we had that. All right, and then this is that, what looks like a headstone or something that is right there. You can see that there, and we don't know what these are. And by the way, the image is going to be a little bit blown out because I really adjusted the contrast and burned through anything that looked like an object. So I used the dodge tool actually to lighten those areas. So, and here's this thing. I don't know what this is, but it seems to be round. It looks like a broken dome, and that's the only pieces that are left. But it is right there in the image. And let's go down to these. I'm going to save these temple structures once again. I don't know what this is, but if you look at it, it's got these eye holes, like you could lift it up, and then it has one at the back. And let me show you the actual image, and it is right there. You see those eye holes? Like you'd hook it with something, and then you barely see it, but there's one on the back right there. And then these two objects were sitting right next to each other, and you can see that cylinder, and you can see this post as it goes all the way back to here. And this is what they look like right here. All right, they've got this look to them right here. What that is, I don't know if it's a fence post, some sort of weapon. I really don't know. We scratched our heads and that is to try to figure out what it could be. This seems to be hollow in there, and then it's got kind of 5 blades on the outside. Once again, if I move those, let's move them up this time so you can see them in comparison. Zoom out a little bit so it's not so pixelated. But there it is, right there. And there's that other piece right next to it. All right. And then this thing, robot arm, something. I'm not sure. Let's see what that looked like. And there it is. It seems to have these clamps. You can see the clamps. You can see this part right here, which I modeled right there. And then it seems to pivot right here, and it's actually angled down. And then it goes into this L-shaped bracket right here. And let's take a look at that guy. And this is what he looks like. And it's pretty large. I mean, compared with all the other stuff, this thing is very large. All right. So I don't know what that is. And by the way, the textures that I use to this are from Polygon. Andrew from Polygon. Check out their channel if you ever do any 3D modeling and you want some good textures to put on an object, and they're tileable, so they work really well. And I know I've mentioned it several times, but I love using his textures because they're really, really good textures. And that's one of the rust textures. And then here's another object, and it's sitting right there. All right, and that looks like that. Maybe a pulley for something. Not sure. Okay, and then we have this that I don't know what that thing is. Oh, I have it. How did I get it rotated? But anyway, let's rotate them. It's supposed to be like that. All right, and there's this object here, and what that is, I don't know, but it has this kind of shape here at the top too, whatever that is sticking out on the top, and it seems like you could rock it, you know, back and forth, because these are rounded, as you can see. Move you out of the way a little more. You can see that they're rounded, and then there's other objects in here I just couldn't get enough detail to see. I don't know how we got moved and rotated, but rotate Z. But there we go. Okay, now let's get into this right here, because this really, these two temples, there are 2 temple complexes in here, and they really fascinated me. So I'm going to move it out of the way, let y'all see it. See it right there? That seems to have the shape of a temple complex, and right there looks like the back part of the statue, and then the actual statue is right there. Now what the statue is, I can't tell you. I just, like I said, I downloaded an image from Google, and then I went ahead and modeled the statue after that. I chose an Egyptian pharaoh, and I just went ahead and modeled him from the Google image. So I don't know what he really looks like, but this is what that smaller, this might be a tomb or something, but it has this shape. And of course, once again, the texture that I used was from Polygon, and this is a concrete texture, and I know I've used this one before, but I really like it. All right, that is the smaller temple complex. Now, what fascinated me even more was I noticed just next to that, almost in line with it, was this temple complex. Now, it's going to be a little easier to see with what I've done with burning it and and adjusting the contrast than in the original image. So if you go back to the original image, it's going to be hard to see, but it's there. And here's this piece right here. Now it's toppled over, and so I just went ahead and placed it back upright, but it's got a base to it. All right, and then it's got this rounded part, and then that's the top, like kind of like a shape of an obelisk. And this is what that, oops, let me, I hate when it does that. Let me just rotate around it a little bit so you can see. But that's what it looks like right there. All right. And then in the front, now I'm going to have to go drop down to this panel. When I originally cut this image out, I didn't realize there was even more to the structure. And this I really had to burn to try to get more detail out of this. But you can see in the front of this is where this other piece is. And that is sitting right there. And I'm going to show you up there what it looks like. And once again, this is toppled over. But it kind of has this elongated diamond shape for the middle spar that comes up. And then these seem to come up and taper off towards the top. And they're on each side. So let's look at that piece. And that would be sitting right at the front of this temple complex. And this is what it looks like. There's that diamond shape there. And there's these two pieces on the edge that taper upwards. And that's sitting on this big temple complex. There's actually stairs that go up to this first level. And then there's something here, but I'm not sure if it's just a wall or if there was supposed to be a statue or something in there. And then these are the longer steps that go up to the temple. And then I'm going to show you this back in the image again. And then here's our first statue here. And it's got this rounded concrete behind him. All right. And then back behind it, there's a drop-off and another statue down here. Now, once again, those are right here in the image. Once again, I cut this off, so half of it's down below, but I want to show you these are the long steps that come down. Here they are, right here. See how those come down? And then there's that one wall. Can I get both those in? There we go. So you can see the long steps right here. You can see this wall that's right here. Okay, here's that obelisk type piece that's, you know, right here. It's toppled over in the image, but we've got it put back upright. Here's our statue here. Okay, and you can kind of see it looks like somebody wearing robes or something like that. And like I said, the statue I have is just of some Egyptian pharaoh, and that's the best statue I could see to model from. And then behind that, there's some steps that go down into this lower area, and then there's actually another statue down here, and I just took the same statue and placed it there, okay? But that is a large temple complex. There's stairs that come up the front. I'll probably have to go down to this panel to see it. Oh, it's... Okay, the front is up here, and these seem to be those steps right there. There's a pathway, and then it leads up those steps. And then you get back over here, and you have the longer steps that come here. And I know it's really blown out, but this was just an image I was using for modeling. And then I realized that there was more to the structure over here that I had to follow. So this seems to be a very, very large temple complex. And you can see it right there. You barely see those steps right here. All right, and I had to actually go back to the Gigapan to get a better look at that image. But there's the wall, the retaining wall for the front. Okay, there's those steps. This actually toppled down from the top down to the lower level, and this actually toppled down and was sitting in the dirt, or it kind of looks like there's more of that temple complex in the front, but I couldn't get enough detail to tell. All right, so that's that. And now let us get over to this second hilltop. Oh yeah, I showed you that. Uh, yeah, I already showed you this, but these vents seem to justify what Chris Maroney from Mars Anomalies and Beyond has been talking about, and how he believes that these people live underground. Well, if that is true, and I happen to believe it is, then these would be. At first, I thought maybe they were entrances, but I don't think so. You wouldn't have your entrance where you have to step up off the ground, climb up here to go through. So I believe that these are probably more likely ventilation. Okay, and oh, I just want to show you. This is the image I took my my pharaoh from. This is him and his wife right here. And so I just placed the model next to it because I actually modeled him right on top of that. Now I gave him a little bit of depth and stuff, but he's relatively flat. But you look at the side, you can see that I actually pulled him out in places so that there was some depth to him. And then this is what I saw originally as far as a temple complex. I noticed this right away. I was like, wow, okay, so I modeled that, and then I realized it was a whole complex. And so I also had to throw in these, but this will give you a better perspective of what these things look like. All right, that's what they look like, and these two are toppled over. And then this one here, same thing. This one was toppled over, but you can get a good idea of what it looks like right there. All right. Now we want to look at our guy. So here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to the Joe White, if I click on the right one, image first, because this is where I found it. Of course, credit goes to him for finding it. And I just want you to take a look at that real close and see if that's what you see. And then let us now go back to Blender and let us zoom in to our hilltop. And if it's not a person, hopefully somebody could tell me what he is. So what I did was why can't I click on anything on this second hilltop? What is going on? For whatever reason, I cannot click on that. Okay, let's take off the lighting. Let me try something real quick. Oh, technical difficulties, huh? Where are you? Man walking. Where are you at? Right here? No? I'll get him here in a minute. There he is. Okay, so I'm zoomed into him. Okay. Don't ask me why it was so difficult. All right, so he's on this hilltop here. All right, and there's where one of those vents are. And then, of course, there's another vent on this front hilltop right there. And I probably shouldn't have done that. All right, so there's the two vents. And there we go. Now, start here again. Technical difficulties. Okay, which one were you? There you are. All right. And here's our guy right here. Oh, come on. Let me zoom. Oh, I must have changed something. Okay. I know how to get him. Zoom in from here. Oh Lord, I have a setting changed on here. What is going on? No, 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 no. I should be able to zoom in on him. Okay, there we go. All right, here is our guy. Now I'm not clicking on anything else. And so what I did was I lightened the texture, and that wasted a few minutes, and modeled him out in 3D. Well, not complete 3D. He's not. I have no idea what the front side of him looks like. So I just modeled what I could see, and this is him, and he is walking up this hill. Now I said I would try to explain what I think he's doing. And hopefully, if I zoom out, I can zoom back into him. I believe that he probably lives in this hilltop right here, and he is probably walking back. I'm not sure if this image was taken in the morning or the evening, but as you know, during the day, the temperatures can get pretty decent. I think the other day I was looking at the temperature on Mars, and it was in the it was about 28 degrees Fahrenheit for the high, and they are in the winter months over here in Gale Crater, and I think the low was going to be minus 73. So in the daytime, you could be out with just a robe and everything and keep yourself warm. And of course, at night, you'd want to be going back home and being hunkered down underground to stay warm. So I believe that this is a guy, and I believe he's walking up this hill, and I believe that this is ventilation for the housing, and it's on both mountains, both hills. They're not mountains, they're hills. Okay, you got one here, and they seem to be right there on the hilltops towards the edge of the hills. Not just in this image, but we've seen them in other images, and one was clear enough that we modeled in one of our previous videos. So I think that's what we're looking at there. Just want to show you in our next video, we are going to look at this set of images right here. Now, this is from, it starts, the first Gigapans I saw were from Sol 796, and these are done by Neville Thompson, and it goes all the way to Sol 855. So the rover spent a lot of time in this area. And there is this hilltop right here, okay, which is what we're zoomed in on right now in this Gigapan. And there's this cave structure that is right in there. It's like they dug out a cave, or it was a natural cave. Now here's I think this is an image from 844. All right, that was 755. This is from Sol 844 of the same hilltop, and we get a little bit better view of it, slightly different angle, but we get a good view of that. So we're going to go through those, and because we have multiple sols that the rover was at, we're going to really be able to model this. The problem is there's a lot to model in this also, and so I just barely started on that, and we'll see if we can get that modeled and looking pretty good. This has been a difficult start to this model. I started last night, and it's like, okay, how am I going to make everything fit? I could do it as one model and you know, extrude and subdivide everything that I need to do, or I can make multiple segments and put them in place. And I tried both, and either way it's going to take a while to model, so this might take a few weeks for me to get out, and we're just going to focus on this hilltop in these two images, just to show you what I've done so far. Let me go back to Blender. Oh gosh darn it, come on, stop. And okay, now, okay, so this is where I started, and right now I'm just trying to model the basics of the hill. And don't laugh at my cave right now, it's still rough, but the cave is actually sitting right here. There we go. Okay, so the cave is actually sitting right here, and it's still rough, but this is the cave in here, and this is just where I started right here, modeling the cave. And there's some, what's interesting is there's some pathways that come across to the side of this hill where we have some stuff over there, and I won't get too much into that today because the video's gone long enough, but this one is going to tie in with another video that we did. So listen, thank y'all for watching, and hopefully you enjoyed this video. Hopefully I didn't bore you with my hemming and hawing on this. I've been moving all week, so I didn't have time to practice doing this ahead of time. And I actually recorded about, this is the fourth time now. And I guess you can count the other recordings as practice, but hopefully I got through everything and didn't forget anything on this video. Y'all have a good, safe week, and thank you to our newcomers. We've got a lot of people starting to view these videos now, thanks to the ad that we put out. So maybe some of you saw the ad and you came over here and checked it out. Hopefully you stuck through it to the end, and we do appreciate everybody, and especially our subscribers. Thank you so much. And if you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you subscribe and hit that thumbs up, and keep watching for another video, because after that next video we're actually going to have another moon video. I've been wanting to get back to doing a moon video, and we're going to get to a moon video after that with some pretty exciting stuff on it. So I hope y'all have a good week, and be safe out there. Thank you.